What's up, guys? Welcome back to the channel. Boozer here. Thanks for stopping by. Today's video, I want to talk to you guys about what I think is one of, if not the biggest traps in the game, especially for early game players. But this definitely extends all the way into the mid, late, and maybe even the end game player. And this definitely plagues myself in the beginning. And it's something that I kind of took like extra conscious effort to kind of suppress. But basically it's the prioritization and need of things. So for example, I mentioned this, and specifically I want to say the need of new champions. A lot of people, I'm pretty sure most people in this game would say, I need new champions. I need more champions. I need this. I need the new shiny thing. Everybody says this. Everybody is not immune to this. This is the type of game that Raid Shadow Legends is. It makes you want champions. It makes you want the new shiny champions. All right? But I'll tell you guys right now, as a super endgame player, I've seen this in so many people. It's the lack of focus and prioritization. And this is how your account stagnates or doesn't progress at in the most optimal way. Basically, you spread your resources too thin, building too many champions, too many shiny things that Plarium throws at you. That's the big thing. A big fun of this game, actually, if you're a low spender or if you're limited on resources, is trying to figure out the puzzle without having the, without having the picture to guide you in how to put the pieces together. Sometimes you have to put some extra cognitive thought into trying to figure out the puzzle. For example, faction wars, for example, dungeons. You need to make a team that works. Clan boss, make a team that works with whatever you got. You don't need the new shiny thing unless you actually do. Sometimes you actually do need the shiny thing, but usually you don't. So I'm going to go through my roster as a pretty end game player, late in stages in the game, but I'm not a spender, so I don't have access to unlimited shards. But I'll show you guys what kind of champions I use and what champions I totally don't use at all. So we're in my roster here. I'm basically targeting champions I'm mentioning champions that are legendary in particular, because legendary champions are really big traps for new and mid-game players. Having resources spread out through multiple champions that may or may not help you in your progress or may not help you as much as you think they would really hurts you. And basically, I'll go over some champions here that you guys might be surprised at champions I do and don't use, and they're just level 60 anyways. So for example, we'll go through here. Zavia I don't use at all. I don't use Longbeard for a long time. Hackhorn Smashflower for a long time. Hackhorn Smashflower actually got buffed, so it's actually kind of more reasonable now. But before his buff, he was just not a legendary that you really wanted. Although having a cleanser available on your account is useful if you ever need the cleanse, for example, like Nether Spider or something like that. Shiramani was also a champion I never used, so never booked her out, never used. Just not a great legendary to have early, and it's not something you should prioritize. Mountain King gets a lot of love sometimes, but honestly, never saw a reason to use him. Who else? Who else on this roster here? Countess Lix I didn't use for a long time, but now I really like her in my Hydra team, but I didn't use her for a long time, and I had her for a long time too. Cillian, same idea. I didn't use him for a long time, only been used in Centrano, so years in the vault. Ugir, he's legendary, but he's years in the vault, or whatever, a year in the vault, and then only recently came out for Centranos. Yannicka, Yannicka, no books, never used. She is, obviously flavor of the month now with the Hydra teams and stuff, but I've never used her. What else? Biggin, I kind of used for faction wars. That's about it. Longbeard, I use a little bit. Wither, I use a little bit. But basically, what I'm trying to highlight here is I have a lot of legendaries. And honestly, most of them don't get used, and most of them haven't been used in many, many years. Before Plarium started shoehorning in Centranos, which requires you to have a huge roster, Siege, which requires you to have a huge built roster. So then some of these champions started coming out. Other 60s I didn't use for a long time, like Gerptuk, didn't use. Deliana, never used. Even Oella, I never used. Danag, I never used, only until Centranos came out. Same thing with Rorik. There's tons of legendaries you just don't use. And you should, not be bothered by the noise of having legendaries. Sometimes having too many legendaries is kind of like a curse, especially when it comes to booking them out. Not everybody will have enough books to fully book out your your legendary, right? And my suggestion for booking out legendaries or book priority is basically target one champion that is going to stick in your account for many areas. The more areas, the better, especially if you're early on. You want champions that are universally good. So for example, we could have like, for example here, champions that are universally good. For example, like Wukong. Wukong's universally good. Universally good basically anywhere. Ninja would be similar. You don't really have to worry about the investments into these type of champions. Artak, universally good. And I'm just kind of mentioning like early champions or champions that you might have gotten maybe for free along the way. So, champions like, for example, I'm just going to pick on somebody here, like Neferal. Neferal is actually a pretty good champion. He's good for wave control and all that stuff. But honestly, he's one of those champions I never used as well. He's geared up for, like, I forgot, Cintranos maybe, but I never booked him out, never used him seriously. He has a 4-turn AoE stun. He has some turn meter stuff, but his kit's really outdated now, and it's definitely been power crept. He's not really somebody you really want to, overly extend, like, books and everything into, depending where you are, right? It seems like his kit can definitely be managed by, another poisoner, maybe an epic poisoner, for example. Another example to me would be like somebody like Xavia. Xavia, she shines in like specific comps built around her. And other than that, she's okay. She can use her as a force nuker, but she can kind of be replaced by another nuker, right? You just find better value from using like epics over legendaries that are like this, like so niche. Shirmani, same kind of idea. She brings some CC, and then otherwise she's not particularly insane anywhere. Lots of champions bring CC that don't need to be legendary, right? I guess what I'm trying to say is make sure you guys prioritize the legendary champion pool that you guys have properly. Make sure you guys spend the books properly on them, spend the masteries on them properly. Make sure they actually can help your account. Don't just, 6-star and build up the next shiny legendary that you get over like solid epics, right? Like if you look over like solid epics here on my account that I actually use, Husk I've used a lot, Venomage I used a lot. Priest Ornn, very good, especially when progressing through some of the dungeons. He's very good for like normal Ice Golem, very good for a normal Dragon, for example. Right now we have Rolgar. Rolgar I used a lot. He's very instrumental in a lot of my progress. Obviously normal Spider is insane, normal Fire Knight, Dark Fae, even beginner Hydra, he's very good just for some damage, and he's an epic, right? You don't really have to invest in Legos and bypass some of these good epics that you might have hanging out that actually deserve your attention. Like Shamail is actually very good, not just for Hydra, he's actually just a very good champion. Allure, for example, you don't need like Lysandra is good, but Allure is just very special. For example, I'm just talking about like a turn meter example. Same idea here with Deacon. Like I said, Lysandra, for example, is very good, but Deacon can definitely fill that turn meter boosting speed aura role here. You got Skull Crown, which is a premium like epic nuker. You don't need that fancy legendary nuker. You don't need to book them out if that's all they're going to do. If all they're going to do is deal damage in arena, you don't need that. You can do it with an epic nuker, right? So this is kind of like this Skull Crown I've used for a long time. I picked her up early. She was my speed lead in arena for a long time in the early game, and then I used her for a long time. I had lots of legendaries that I could have replaced her with. The big one was Ethos. Ethos, if you guys don't know, is a legendary void champion. I pulled Ethos relatively early, and it was a debate between Skull Crown or Ethos. And basically they're the same type of champion. They do basically the same thing. They have multiple AoEs in their kits. They have weaken in their kit. They have similar multipliers. Ethos, I believe, has a higher base. Yeah, he has higher base attack. He has 100 more base attack, which is pretty good. But Skullcrown has the unkillable passive, right? He has a passive that makes her unkillable. Unkillable, yeah, unkillable buff. So, factoring that in, I was just like, hey, and she's an epic. She's an epic. I'm already using her. Why do I need to build Ethos right now when I can barely sustain like one champion? So that's why I kind of want to emphasize in this video. Make sure you guys prioritize one champion. Certain champions that will have general impact in your account, especially early on. Knowing which champion to book 60 and invest in. Definitely, obviously look at your own account, look at your own progression. You guys might not have enough gear to actually gear out 2 good nukers. You guys might only have gear for 1 good nuker, maybe 1 good accuracy debuffer, for example. You can't build a second one. So don't feel rushed into building the next legendary that you get, because there's always going to be a better legendary that you might get in the near future. And then you would have regretted building the legendary that's right in front of you, for example, if you'd have no immediate impact for that champion. Anyways, guys, just a quick little thing here that I wanted to say. I feel like this is something that is a trap, something that Plarium gives willingly to their players. For example, like Adlin. Adlin is a free legendary champion, but she's only good in certain areas, and she's not really like a dungeon carry that new players really, really want. And you might be blessed with so many options now, definitely way more now than before, having legendaries kind of given to you, like login champions or 7-day freebies or whatever, promo champions. There's definitely so much more that you have right now, but you're not getting more books. You're not getting more books. You're not getting more chickens. You're not getting more of that. It's just dividing your attention. So that's all I wanted to make you guys aware of. It's one of the biggest traps in the game. It's something that no one really sees because, we want new champions, and getting new champions cannot be a bad thing. But it is a bad thing if it distracts you from what you need to do and how to progress optimally. Anyways, guys, thanks for watching. Hopefully you guys enjoyed the video. Let me know in the comments below what you guys think about my comments and what you guys feel is an even bigger trap. Let me know in the comments below. Appreciate your time as always. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next video.